Hi there, how's it going? This will be my second video that I'm trying to upload today. This time I will be making a second part to Kevin Donovan has no journalistic integrity. And just reviewing a little bit of what we talked about last time, I believe Kevin Donovan is trying to sabotage the Barry and Honey Sherman murder case. Kevin Donovan, being the lead investigative reporter with the Toronto Star, he actually just went to the court date today to speak in court to cross-examine Detective Yim. At the same time, I was just at City Council today making my public deputation. But regardless, Kevin Donovan, you need to know that he's someone who's done reporting on a story called A Death in a Small Town. And in that story, he was talking about how a boy named Nathaniel died of trivial injuries. But the OPP, the Ontario Provincial Police, were stating that he died of a murder, right? And this is why it's so frustrating, because Toronto Star Kevin Donovan, he's already done a story about police corruption. So when talking about the Barry and Honey Sherman murder case, there's no excuse for why this guy, the head of their company, shouldn't be talking about police corruption in this instance, right? There's no excuse. And if you need to know, like, who's acting on principle and who's not, I don't think Kevin Donovan's acting on principle. I think he's sabotaging this story because it's completely going left, and he's at a point in his age and his career that he might as well move on to something else, right? He wants a career-defining moment. I don't think Kevin Donovan, I don't think in his mind he can solve the case himself. So I think he's sabotaging the case, right? Think about it for a second. I was someone who was improperly identified, and I came forward knowing that there could be full legal consequence. The police could shit on me, they could arrest me, for some bullshit reason, right? I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to come forward as the Sherman Walking Man suspect, who was improperly identified. I didn't have to do that. But Kevin Donovan, on the other hand, think about this. He never mentioned once, right? When he says, "Oh, Barry Sherman, he was, such a pillar in the community. He was such such a pivotal community member," right? But if you're being fair and honest about people's legacy, you would bring up Nancy Oliveri. You would bring up the fact that Barry Sherman and the Apotex company made a generic drug, right, which affected the liver and function of Black Americans and Black Africans. Like a severe liver dysfunction that could have killed a lot of people, right? And when you're talking about a generic drug company, what you're talking about is a drug that then gets copied by hundreds or even thousands of other drug companies. So the devastating effect, Nancy Oliveri, she was someone who fought the healthcare system, these big companies. She fought these court cases against Apotex. Did Kevin Donovan ever really talk about this in any capacity, or did he just blindsidedly try and win and solve for the Barry and Honey Sherman murder case and win the money, win the $35 million? This is what I'm putting into question. I don't think Kevin Donovan has journalistic integrity. I just don't. So that's strike number 2, in my opinion, right? But what we're going to do is we're going to go over, right now I'm looking at right here, what you can see. This is the 2023 court documents, information to obtain, of Dennis Yim. He's the current detective that today, January 21st of 2025, Kevin Donovan should have cross-examined in the courts, right? So we're going to go through some documents. There's a bunch of different things here, right? So one of them, it states that there was a production order for the CIBC Bank because, there was a meeting that Barry and Honey Sherman had to do at Apotex. They were meeting two home builders and an architect for the home that they were building, right? That they were going to move into. So it takes about a 20-minute drive from Apotex back to 50 Old Colony Road. It takes approximately 20 minutes from Apotex also to go to Bayview Village. So in this production order, the police are asking for this video footage, likely because Honey Sherman went to a CBIC bank teller and took out a bunch of money, right? It was around the holiday season. So would this have been very suspicious? Kevin Donovan mentioned that they had money in the safe, right? And he mentioned that she could have took money out to pay Apotex employees and people at the house and stuff of that nature, right? So what was the result of that? Did the Toronto police have video footage from the CIBC banking teller, right? Well, we don't know. We don't know. Did she give her credit and debit card to someone else, and maybe the family members used it, right? Because think of the likelihood of this situation. She went to Apotex to meet up with Brennan, the home builder, Daniel Greenglass, and this guy named Roman, right? The three people there. Now, do you think that two home builders and an architect who likely already have a multi-dollar business or well established in their careers, do you think an architect would like put a gun to Honey Sherman and then have her driven to her own home so that she could be murdered? I mean, it just doesn't seem very likely, right? It seems that they went to Apotex for 4:45 p.m. The meeting lasted for an hour. She likely drove 20 minutes to Bayview Village, spent there for an hour just looking around and shopping, and then returned back home where that she would later be murdered. So I just don't see the likelihood of that, right? Now looking through the documents, right? There's a bunch of things that they mention. If Dennis Yim is doing this investigation, I mean, why even bother some of these things if they don't conclusively lead you to a theory, right? There's things about they're stated here about Judy Gottlieb. She was like the real estate agent who was also really good friends with Honey Sherman. There was a rumor about like a Persian real estate guy and he was being sketchy or something. I mean, they were saying there was religious or racial motivations. Maybe, but does it lead back to the home builders? Does it lead back to Brennan, Roman, and this other guy, Daniel Greenglass? Kind of doubtful, but they put it in the documents, right? They put it in David Yim's 2023 affidavit. I guess, right? These are things to ask and question. Let me just see here. We got page 60. Oh yeah, this goes over Detective Brandon Price. On February 2nd, 2018, it says, Dennis Yim, I spoke to Detective Brandon Price, who advised Dr. Pickup the following meetings with himself and Detective Susan Gomes had expressed that what he initially believed to be, it's redacted, it's blacked out, believed to be, come on, he thought it was a double suicide. Apparently he thought it was a double suicide. It's blacked out, but may have not have been double suicide, and now he is not certain that it was a double murder. And this is February 2nd. Now, the reason why this is sketchy, right, in my opinion, like you would have to be massively incompetent as a detective to not just come to a natural conclusion that anyone would make, in my opinion. But in these documents, it actually says that there is bloodstains, right? They mention a small bloodstain on Honey Sherman's cheek. Now, I want you to imagine this, right? You're a homicide detective, and you walk into a murder scene and you see two people's heads tightly fastened to a metal pool railing, right? And there's blood stains. Now, I can't tell you how bad those blood stains were, right? But to me, if their heads are fastened to the pool railing, my guess is that suicidal thrashing would not create a lot of blood stains. Like, if her head was fashioned to the pool railing, I don't even think her arms could have flailed when her head was lower to the ground, than you might expect. Like, the angle her body was juxtaposed, Barry and Honey Sherman. Their head was pretty low to the ground given the height of the railing, right? And because it was tightly fastened to the rail, I don't think suicidal thrashing could have caused those bloodstains. So the normal reaction of anyone, not just a detective, would be suicidal thrashing cannot make those bloodstains. So do you really think it was a double suicide? In all honesty, Detective Brandon Price, as of February 2nd, 2018, I just think that's really fucking whack. I just think that's bullshit. Another thing it says here on page 85, at 1:17, DC Wu and Detective Susie arrived on scene and were met by Constable Hart and Detective McCall at the front foyer. Page 86, it lists all these times, and it says, the coroner, the pathologist, Detective McCall, and Detective Price from the homicide unit had left the scene respectively. Now, if you actually look on page 8, it says police officers involved. Now, for whatever reason, it could just be Detective Yim and his shitty writing, and his shitty court document writing, but Detective Yim doesn't state why Detective McCall, what his role in the investigation was, and it says they left the scene respectively. So based on the sequence of the names, it's saying Detective Brandon Price left at 4:35 p.m., and Detective McCall left around 3:35 p.m. No, what that actually means, I don't know. But who is Detective McCall? I'd like to know his involvement in the investigation, and what did he have any notes? Did he observe anything? He was led by Detective Susie and Detective Wu into the room with the pool railing and the dead bodies. So, what did he observe that day? 1:47 p.m. Okay. Right? So it's just more questions. But here's also what I want to ask too as well. If you don't know, again, my name is Tim Wilkie. I am the improperly identified Sherman Walking Man suspect. On what I've been saying, right, is in the video you don't see the cop cruiser that's stalking me in the Walking Man video. I've been saying for the longest time now that at least one person knew that I was there on December 13th, 2017. If they say that is the night when the Walking Man was walking, then yeah, then I was walking down Bannatyne when a cop car was slowly stalking me and surveilling me or whatever. Right? But here's the thing. So the Walking Man video, because I was a video production student, I've edited a lot of photos and I've edited a lot of video. And just from like my photo editing experience, I'm pretty sure I've edited photos down to a point where I've tried to darken the image of someone, right? And it creates like this halo effect, like an outlining of a person's body. Like if you take a full body shot of someone, and if you try and darken down the image significantly, I'm pretty sure it might leave this halo effect. So when I see the Walking Man video, I question if Toronto police didn't edit the video to make it brighter or to make it darker. I don't know. That's a question I'd have to ask. I'm pretty sure they would say the opposite, but there's no timestamp in the video. So you got to remember that. That could be down to the security footage that was taken from that. Like, it could have just been the type of footage based on the company that house and that security footage was from. Had no timestamp, I guess. Maybe. Or did they edit the timestamp out? But as it states here, if these are the correct papers that I'm reading, Detective Constable Kirsten Thomas, badge 7660, hereinafter referred to as DC Thomas, is a police officer employed to the Toronto Police Services Homicide Unit. DC Thomas conducted interviews and viewed video. So she went to Apotex. She likely collected the videos from the Barry's computer. Did she view the Walking Man video? Did she edit, or did she know what happened with the video? I don't know. It's just a question. I don't know. It's just a question. It's an honest to God question. Because of the list of police officers involved, when they say video footage, right, Walking Man video, it says that she conducted interviews and she viewed video. Did she edit video? I don't know. Another officer here, Detective John Angus, Detective Constable John Angus, badge number 86527. He is with the Technological Crimes Unit. So Kirsten Thomas, when she collected Barry Sherman's computer, DC Thomas likely gave that evidence to John Angus, Detective Constable John Angus of the Technological Crimes Unit. So, I mean, of the names listed here, I don't know. I don't know for sure, but they would seem like the only two people that might know whether the video footage of the Walking Man was edited in some kind of weird way or not. And that's just my natural instinct or suspicion, because that's what it seems like. It seems like, why? Well, why? When I'm trying to come forward, I'm trying to rationalize the Toronto Police's whole rationale for why they just cannot say, that I'm not the guy, right? When I came forward as, they improperly identified me. And maybe this is another reason why. Maybe someone edited the video, maybe. It was too darkened and there was some weird halo effect over the video. That's what it looks like to me, right? But anyways, this is my second video of Kevin Donovan has no journalistic integrity. We'll see. On Friday, he usually uploads a link or an article to Toronto Star, and then we'll know. We'll know if they forever seal the documents, and if there's like a cold case unit, or if they got more files redacted. But hey, I'm just giving my 2 cents. My name is Tim Wilkie. I am the improperly, it's late. Sherman Walking Man suspect, improperly identified. Well, but you know what? I'm gonna leave with one more thing. Because, baseless rumors. Judy Gottlieb made up, she said, I'm not trying to discredit her, but she said that, a Persian man was being a weird realtor, and there was a weird rumor. There was something about a jacuzzi. There was a rumor at a jacuzzi or a hot spa. It just seems like Dennis Yim is actually taking rumors and using it as court evidence. And unless they all have something to do with each other, I'm just casting doubt, right? And I want you to think about this, right? If they find the surveillance footage, maybe it was Honey Sherman, and maybe there was someone there. Maybe there was someone there at the bank teller. But you got to understand, right? If someone stole debit or credit cards, even if you found a phone number or an email, let's say in the documents, right? They say they have, there's 9 phone numbers there that are unredacted. So imagine you get one phone number and you think that person is sketchy, right? You think that person is the perp or the suspect or whatever. And then it links to another 8 phone numbers. Well, if you rule that one person out for whatever reason, you technically rule out those 8 other phone numbers. So when the Toronto police in the documents have these 9 phone numbers that aren't redacted, it's not an "oh, I got you" moment. It could be disproven just as easily. So that's something to consider as well, right? And I'm trying to be realistic. Because like I brought up Victor Cerruti. I do believe he was the plainclothes officer, for sure. And now it's just like I've waited so long just trying to make peace with this, because I started on a journey and I just wanted to finish it. And I know that, I talked to someone in the Toronto Star today, actually, and of course she's just kind of writing me off, and it doesn't seem like she really cares at all. But again, it shows you that they're not treating me with any level of urgency. It's my life. I think it has urgency. I think I made a pretty brave decision to come forward as the improperly identified walking man suspect. They released my image and likeness to the news, so I didn't have to do that, right? And it's probably affected my life in other ways, because now I'm mentally suffering through it. And it's just like, I don't know. I wanted to try to be a good person. I just wanted to try. So now I'm doubtful. I don't want to accuse someone of being a murderer, but it's just like when Kevin Donovan says there was 2 people involved, right? He said that he saw footage of 2 people, right? He had video evidence that he was shown that there's 2 people involved in the murder. Well, again, the reason I said Victor Cerruti is because he definitely seems like he was the plainclothes officer. Someone, right, the person that went in the driveway for December 14th, right? He showed up there. Who was the plainclothes officer? If it was 2 people, I don't want to drag someone in the mud, right? But Dom Malella, I don't know. I don't. Look, I'm just going to say it. These 2 guys, they seem very close to each other. They seem very close, right? Victor Cerruti, he got a vasectomy done, and he's going to Las Vegas with this guy. And if his wife is cool with it, he's cool with it, right? But 2 cops, they work in a similar industry. One of them is saying he has insider information about the Barry and Honey Sherman murder case. Is it possible you and your gay lover cop murder Barry and Honey Sherman when you guys are cuddling with each other on Twitter? Like, I don't want to have to be disrespectful, but that was my initial reaction. You got a vasectomy, you're cheating on your wife with your gay lover cop guy. I don't know. If you were in the driveway of the Shermans, who else? Who else would it be? I don't know. Who else would it be? So I hate to spread rumors, and now I'm feeling, I don't know how to feel. I don't want to accuse someone of being a murderer, but at the same time, the murder suspect, the murder weapon, and the motive, based on the evidence that I have, that I've compiled, that's what I was thinking. And, sure, I'm not a journalist, I'm not a police officer, and I guess I'm not really a private investigator. I'm just a guy who just wanted closure for this thing. And it's driven me mad insane just thinking about it. Maybe I shouldn't think about it. Maybe I'm just a fucking loser, random person, random passerby, and I have no reason, to be talking about this. But at the same time, I was a concerned citizen, and I made a choice. So, hey, this is it. So I'm going to wait to see what the results of the court case were, but I'm just going to say it right now. Kevin Donovan, you have no journalistic integrity. Because even if Victor Cerruti did not murder the Shermans, I wasn't the person in the Walking Man video. The Toronto police asked someone to come forward. They lose credibility when they're not willing to take that answer. Right? I remember, being in the neighborhood. I remember 2 days later, I was looking at the skyline of Toronto because I lived in Oshawa at the time. I remember the full Toronto skyline. And when I heard about Barry and Honey Sherman, I was really thinking, you know, because I wanted to be in the film industry, so I wanted to move to Toronto. And when I heard about that, I was looking at that skyline. Like, I'm going to go back to the city, and I'm going to go on an adventure, and I don't know what I'm going to find. So, and then, you know, fast forward to 2022, I saw the Walking Man Suspect video, and I was almost certain that I had saw it in 2017 because I was that familiarized with that situation on that night. So I just want you to remember that. Thank you so much, and have a good night.